So the fact of the matter is this, is that if we're really desiring to live a Christian life the way that God wants us to live it, we're going to have people who are going to oppose us. The problem is we don't always know who they are. He who has an ear to hear, let him hear. Verse 4, my heart is in anguish within me, and the terrors of death have fallen upon me. Fear and trembling come upon me, and horror has overwhelmed me. Folks, that's the seriousness of the pain. If you've ever been betrayed, if you've ever been genuinely betrayed, you know the heart of the psalmist here. It is the closest thing to going through hell on earth that I know of. If somebody kills me, at least I get to die and go to heaven. But if you betray me and leave me alive, then I have to suffer through the consequences of that betrayal. And yes, there's a mental thing there that's happening. But there's also a physical suffering that goes with it as well. Judas betrays Jesus, and Jesus ends up tied to a whipping post and nailed to a tree. Absalom betrays his father David, and David ends up having to run from Jerusalem, going back into the wilderness to where he can regroup and come back and defeat Absalom. But in the meantime, Absalom takes all of David's wives and sleeps with them. Ruins the government. Divides the nation. So when David comes back, it isn't even close to what it was before he was betrayed. And he's in anguish. He recognizes this. He knows this. And if you've ever been betrayed and you've had to walk through that, you already have figured out that once that betrayal happens, your life is changed forever. I love this. Verse 6. I said, oh, that I had wings like a dove, and I would fly away and be at rest. Behold, I would wander far away. I would lodge in the wilderness. I would hasten to my place of refuge from the storm, wind, and tempest. In other words, God, I just want to get out of here. God, just take me away. God, get me out of this situation. Remove me from it. Let me have the wings of a dove and begin to fly away in peace. But the problem is when you're in the midst of betrayal, you can't get away. You have to deal with the situation. And as much as you will want God to let you be like a dove and fly away, you're going to have to walk through this one. Now watch this. Verse 9, I'm going to just read on through here so I can get into what I've got for you this morning. Confuse, O Lord, divide their tongues, for I have seen violence and strife in the city. Day and night they go around upon her walls, and inquire, and iniquity and mischief are in her midst. Destruction is in her midst. Oppression and deceit do not depart from her streets. In other words, David looks back and he says, this was all planned! The very place where I was living, all this was going on in my midst. It was happening right under my nose. Have you ever had something happen to you and it was going on right under your nose and you didn't know it until the moment of betrayal? That's true betrayal. That's true betrayal. For it is not an enemy who reproaches me, nor I could bear it. Nor is it one who hates me, who has exalted himself against me. Then I could hide myself from him. But it is you, a man my equal, my companion, and my familiar friend. We who had sweet fellowship together, who walked in the house of God in the throng. In other words, this was one of David's closest people. You see, here's the deal. Betrayal cannot happen by an acquaintance. Betrayal cannot happen by someone who barely knows you or doesn't know you. That's just flat out attack. And you're usually aware that those people are out there. Come on. You know there are people at work wanting your job. There are probably people out there that want your husband, that want your wife. Oh, we're going to get real now. There are people out there that want your ministry, that want what you have. They want your house. They want this. They want that. You know they're out there. Those are not the people that are going to get close to getting it. It's going to be the people that you think are safe. Now, I don't want to release a spirit of paranoia on this body, but we need to learn this because Jesus said that betrayals were going to increase in the last days. And we shouldn't be surprised by them when they come. What surprises us is we're not ready from where the betrayals come from. And David said, it's come from my best friend. It's come from a man that I worshiped with. We spent time before the Lord together. We fought together side by side. And now all of a sudden, he has turned on me and has become my worst enemy. Absalom to David, Judas to Jesus. And isn't it interesting that Absalom and David are flesh and blood, and Jesus chose Judas? These were people that were brought into the inner circle, that were born into the inner circle, and that were brought in to the inner circle. Let's just drop on down here. Verse 22. Well, no, I can't do that. There's too much good stuff in here. Verse 16. As for me, I shall call upon God, and the Lord will save me. You need to star that, underline it, cut it out, put it on your mirror. As for me, I will call upon God, and the Lord will save me. Because in the midst of betrayal, He's the only one that can save you. Evening and morning at noon, I will complain and murmur, and He will hear my voice. God can take it. Pour your heart out to Him. He will redeem my soul in peace from the battle which is against me. For they are many who strive with me. God will hear and answer them, even the one who sits enthroned from of old, with whom there is no change, and who do not fear God. He has put His hands against those who were at peace with Him. He has violated His covenant. Verse 21, I hate this one. His speech was smoother than butter. Oh, they talk a good talk. We'll be with you till the end. We're here with you. We're here for you. You don't have to worry about me. You don't have to worry about us, whatever it takes. Buttery words. His speech was smoother than butter, but his heart was war. And his words were softer than oil. Yet they were drawn swords. In other words, he's one thing to your face, she's one thing to your face. He or she is entirely something else when they're not looking at you. You know, if you've got a friend that talks about other people like they were dogs, you do understand that they talk to you, they talk about you to other people like you were a dog. Huh? I'm just trying to help you here. I've learned to separate those kind of folks. You talk about somebody else like they were a dog, then I know that they're going to talk about me like I'm a dog when I'm not around. But we love you. You're not like that, buttery. Or lips. Verse 22, cast your burden upon the Lord, and He will sustain you. And He will never allow the righteous to be shaken. But you, O God, will bring them down to the pit of destruction. Men of bloodshed and deceit will not live out half their days. But I will trust you. There's a penalty that comes with betrayal. And it's always early death. Now that'll scare the willies out of you. Because the last thing you want to do is become a betrayer. Because once you commit I'm just giving you the word. Did I just read that out of the word? From that point on, what you could have lived, you will only live half that long. You say, Pastor, that's strong in the word. It is strong in the word. Why? Because betrayal is killing or cutting off somebody else's future. So God gives them half the time they had left to repent. And if they don't, getting too stout, we'll quit. We'll quit. We'll move on. David did the best he could to protect himself from betrayal. As a matter of fact, when the mighty men were being drawn to him, before any of this happened with Absalom, David was a man that was aware of betrayal. So in the midst of his awareness that betrayal could happen to him, this is what he said in 1 Chronicles 12:17. David went out to meet them and said to them, if you come peaceably to help me. Now these were about 30 men, if you read in context, that had come from, I think, from Benjamin and Judah, that had come down to the hideout. They wanted to join forces with David. They wanted to be a part of David's mighty men. So you would think that David would say, I'm so glad to see you. Come on in. We need you so bad. We need you for this. We need you for that. Please come and help us. Glad to see you. No, this is what he said to him. If you come peaceably to me to help me, my heart shall be united with you. But if to betray me to my adversaries, since there is no wrong in my hands, may the God of our fathers look on it and decide. In other words, God will judge. Now, David's saying, if you're not coming to stay and help me, don't come at all. David's saying, if you're going to come and then return to my adversaries when I've done no wrong, then don't come, because I don't need salt in the wound. It's quiet in here. It's okay. It's okay. Tell your neighbor, it's okay. You see, don't come and join yourself to something just to spy out and see if it's what you want to be a part of and then go back. See, this hits way too close to home. This one mash you on your toes and hurt your conscience. Going to come out and join forces with David. David said, don't you even think about it unless you're coming to covenant and stay. Because the worst thing you can do is go back to Saul. Why? Because it just adds salt to the wound. It makes it You go back with a bad report. What's that do to David? It demoralizes the army. How many of you know David didn't have much of an army out there at the time? Sing me a song. Saul had a polished army. He still had everything. He was still large and in charge and still looked good and still had the overwhelming majority of the nation connected to him. And David's living in a cave with the few folks that were as rattled as he was. And they were coming out to check on David. And they were going back with they were either going to go back with a bad report or they were going to stay. Boy, I knew it would get quiet on that one, but I can't help you with that. David was aware that betrayal was in the heart of many. So to protect himself and to protect his army, he simply said, if you're going to come be with me, come be with me. If you're not, leave it where you're at. Because I got an army to train, and I need men and women that I can trust around me that aren't going to wag out, just when things get a little tough. It's one of them mornings I'm going to get in trouble.